Welcome to the Rainmaker Report. I'm Andy Thompson, and here are three breaking cybersecurity stories that you need to know about. First up, there's a new leader in the ransomware scoreboard, and it's not the one we've all been expecting to hear this year. ReliaQuest just published their latest incident analysis, and the gentlemen have quietly overtaken Qilin as the most prolific ransomware operation right now. This is a pretty big shift, and it happened relatively quickly. So, who are these guys? Well, the gentlemen are relatively new on the scene, and they're again a ransomware crew that's just basically been racking up victims at a pace that frankly nobody was expecting. Now, Qilin, on the other hand, they've been a heavyweight for a while now. They're the ones behind the Synovus attack that took down London hospitals last year, and their affiliate program has been humming along nicely, hitting healthcare, manufacturing, education, you name it. But now the gentlemen are actually outpacing them in raw victim count, which is really significant. And this matters because, well, the ransomware ecosystem, they don't like vacuums, okay? When one group loses affiliates, another one will ultimately absorb them. So, with that said, Qlin's operators built their reputation on very high affiliate percentages, fast encryption, cross platform payloads, including ESXi and Linux variants, and a very noisy and aggressive leak site. So, with that said, if affiliates are jumping ship to the gentleman, that tells you that this new crew is either offering better splits, better tooling, or better operational security. Probably all three. We're also, because of this, seeing the usual targets being hit. So, mid market companies, professional services firms, and manufacturers. These are simply put the folks who typically don't have a 24/7 SOC watching every endpoint. So, what's next? Well, I would expect the gentleman to attract more skilled affiliates as time goes on, which means, well, faster dwell to encryption times and more polished negotiation playbooks. And also, I would also expect Qilin to respond here, either with a rebrand, a new payload, or better affiliate terms to win people back. Your takeaway here is if your detection engineering team is still tuned primarily for Qilin TTPs, you need to update your playbooks this week. That's because the gentlemen use different loaders, different living off the land patterns, and different exfil tooling. Simply put, folks, we need to know our top threat before they know us. Moving on to our second story. Coca-Cola just suspended U.S. production at Fairlife, its premium dairy subsidiary, after ransomware attacks knocked the operations offline. Yes, I'm talking about the maker of Fairlife milk, core power protein shakes, and a bunch of other dairy products you've probably seen at Costco. Well, they have on their hands is a full production halt with shipments being disrupted. And the company here is openly admitting that they don't quite yet know the full scope of what's happened, which is a little concerning. But here's what we know so far, okay? Coca-Cola has confirmed that Fairlife was hit with ransomware, and the response was to pull the plug on U.S. manufacturing while they investigate. And honestly, that's the right move. You don't want ransomware sitting in your operational technology while your production lines keep running. But this also tells us that the intrusion was deep enough that just isolating a few systems wasn't going to cut it. Now, on the data side, this is where things get a little murky. Coca-Cola hasn't disclosed whether customer data, employee records, or supplier information was accessed or exfiltrated. And that's actually pretty typical for the first week of a ransomware disclosure. Yeah, the forensics teams are, they're kind of still pulling things together. But what you should assume, though, is that, well, modern ransomware crews almost always steal data before they encrypt it. Double extortion is the default modus operandi now. So if you're a Fairlife employee, a customer, a supplier, you treat this as a probable data exposure event until Coca-Cola tells you otherwise. Now, impact-wise, this is U.S. only production for now. But dairy supply chains are tight and Fairlife products move fast. So with that said, expect shortages on the shelves within a couple of weeks if this drags on. Now, Coca-Cola's response has been minimal, a short statement, no real attribution, no timelines for restoration. But again, things are still early. That's going to change once ransomware groups start posting their information on their data leak site, which frankly I expect to happen fairly soon. So, what should you do? Well, if you're a Fairlife employee or a contractor, watch your email for a breach notification and really don't wait for it, okay? At this point, you really should just rotate every work credential you have, enable multi factor wherever it's offered, and yes, I would probably put a fraud alert on your credit about now. What you really should be doing is not waiting for the letter, we should be acting before it happens. All right, let's move on to our last story of the day. The FBI just arrested a 21-year-old college student who allegedly turned Steam into his own personal crypto piggy bank. This person's name is Zaire Wilkins, and prosecutors say he published multiple fake games to the platform, infected thousands of victims with that, and then walked off with a huge chunk of cryptocurrency. So let's talk about what actually happened here. The playbook is pretty straightforward. Wilkins allegedly uploaded games to Steam that looked like legitimate indie titles. Users then downloaded them, ran them, and then got InfoStealer malware installed on their machines. The malware went hunting for browser sessions, wallet extensions, and stored credentials. And then anything that was crypto related got siphoned off. Now, Steam, to their credit, has pulled titles like this before, but the review process is clearly not catching everything. In this case, well, it proves it. So this matters to you because if you're on that platform, well, this platform is broken just like the app stores were broken 10 years ago. Users assume that, hey, if it's on Steam, somebody vetted it. And the reality check here, folks, is that the bar for publishing content is way lower than people think. And attackers have also figured out that gamers also are ripe targets. They often run with elevated permissions, disable antivirus for performance, and often they're storing crypto wallets on the same machines that they game on. And that's a terrible, terrible combination for disaster, unless you're a criminal. Now, the evidence in the court case is fairly concrete here. Court filings describe specific titles, specific victim counts in the thousands, and specific wallet address drains. So this isn't a theoretical supply chain. It's an active technique that a solo actor pulled off in a dorm room against other college students. Yeah. So what's next? I would expect Valve to tighten publisher verification and expect copycats to move faster than Valve can respond. Simply put, InfoStealer as a service kits make this absolutely trivial to replicate. So, your takeaway, if you hold crypto, don't keep your wallet on the same machine you download indie random games on, okay? Also, use a hardware wallet or at a minimum, just a separate device. We can't all rely on Gabe to save us forever, right? Steam is amazing, but they're not a security boundary. All right, folks. Well, that about wraps up today's stories. This is Andy Thompson signing off.